Welcome to Business Blitz, 5 minutes of skills, tools and strategies to make sure that you propel your business forward again this week. We have our magnificent panel again with us, Geoffrey Roberson from Champion Legal, Rachel Bourke from Salespace, Andrew Simmons from Vision Personal Training. We have the experts here today talking about pricing again. And this time we're going to be focusing on price versus volume and are some businesses better suited to one kind of business model than the other. I'd like to start with you, Rachel, because I know you specialise in this area and particularly with service professionals.
Yes.
Can a service professional have a volume-based business?
Service professionals obviously have to look at the constraints, and time is always the biggest constraint when you are a service professional. So you can't be all about the volume and how many things you can sell. It all has to be about, okay, I've only got this amount of time, therefore I need to be focusing on what's the best price I can get for the time I have available.
Fantastic. So once again, it comes back to really making sure that your client or customer understands the value that you're delivering at that price point.
Absolutely, and yes.
We were talking about this earlier, and I loved your example, Andrew. So you were saying that if you were to go into the personal training, fitness industry again, what would your approach be?
Well, knowing that instead of going from being in big business now, I just work as a sole trader, I want to make sure I could leverage my time the best I possibly could. So as Rachel's saying, you've just got to look at your time constraints.
Yep.
So I thought, okay, how could I market myself? One of the ways in which I work with personal trainers to help them differentiate themselves is pricing. And I'd like to think if I was going to go back again, I'd market myself as Australia's most expensive personal trainer.
I love it. I'm going to take that job.
Yeah. And I think, the reason, we generally associate the word cheap with nasty.
Yeah.
I'm sure any professional service provider does not want to be associated with nasty or cheap. So when someone thinks of expensive, they often think of much better.
Quality.
Yep.
It's obviously a quality.
So you would go out there and say, I am Australia's most expensive personal trainer.
Yeah, I'd start with Australia, then maybe go to the world.
Yeah, just global domination,
That's
nothing
right.
more.
Yeah.
And so what would you do from there?
Well, then I have to first of all work out who is Australia's most expensive personal trainer, so I wasn't a fraud and I wasn't saying something that wasn't true.
Yep.
So I have to go out there and then find out, okay, what sort of level of service are they providing, and literally provide better service, and then make sure that I was congruent with that.
Yeah, I think the key point is here, believing that you are. So if you're going to charge a really good hourly rate, you need to fully believe in your own mind that you are worth every cent of what you are charging.
Right, so congruency and belief is much...
And I think because there's an inverse relationship with I suppose, quantity and quality. So therefore, if I wasn't going to spend so much time, then I'd have a much large market, but a very low supply of my time.
Yeah.
So therefore, I don't need that many people to be able to do that. Whereas a lot of people go chase all the time, thinking they're living in a world of scarcity.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a world of abundance, and I think that just comes back to your own belief in yourself.
Yeah. So coming back to congruency and belief, does that mean then you go and advertise you are the world's most expensive personal trainer, and then you make sure that you're congruent? There would be a level of belief has to hold you there while you wait for those clients to come through the door. So it's still a long-term game, isn't it?
You just need to be able to really language that properly. You need to make sure your sales messages are really powerful. The way you deliver them needs to be absolutely extraordinary. The level of confidence you need to be at the top of your game and seen as being at the top of your field in terms of pricing is really big. So that you need to really work on that and be somebody who can pull that off because you believe it wholeheartedly yourself.
Yeah, and that comes down to making sure that you are feeding your brain with the right stuff, reading the right books, looking at the right YouTube stuff, making sure your days are starting off really well so you build that belief all the time.
And I think something that's really important is you need to ask yourself, if I was a client of my business and I paid that certain amount to go and do that training, for instance, would I walk out of there thinking that was the best money I'd ever spent? It didn't matter what price I actually paid. Would I be thrilled at the value that I just received from the service I had just paid for?
So don't get scared. If you're a service professional, go high and then build the value into it.
Yes.
I just want to quickly cover off, Geoff, because the other side of the business coin is volume-based businesses. We were talking earlier about some of the traps that can come your way, particularly around starting out, not having the cash flow for it, making promises that you can't keep. Talk us through that.
You need to be very careful, and Andrew touched on it briefly. I think the whole question of misleading, you've got to be careful not to mislead or deceive your customers. The Office of Fair Trading in every state, very vigilant and can come down on a new business very heavily. So it's a question of getting your business model right, knowing what market you want. If
Yep.
it's high volume, low margin, then that's fine, but make sure you can deliver, or that your customers understand when you can deliver. So you've got your time laid out in your offering. But if they, if you fall over on that, and there's an old saying in manufacturing, when Australia used to do manufacturing, that you
I
had
remember those days.
you had to have the widget maker in your factory ready to go. If you advertise that you made widgets, make
Yep.
sure you could deliver the widgets.
Yep.
And it's the same in any business. You've got to, if you're out there marketing through social media, whatever way these days, you've got to make sure you can deliver what you say you will, both as to quantity and quality and time.
Yeah.
And
Well, so
price.
we were talking earlier on about, every entrepreneur's dream is that they get some remarkable PR in a national magazine, and the orders come flooding through the door. They're not ready for it, which is to your point.
Yep.
They're not cashed up so that they can start producing it. The business falls over. And they have to have their systems and their processes ready
Yes.
to go through the process.
Yep.
And again, if they've got the stock there but they don't get the marketing right, then they're left with a whole bunch of stock and a business also falling over. So is it a tougher game in the volume-based business than it is in a price-based business?
You just have to be really tight in your numbers.
Yep.
That's the most important thing. Make sure that you plan it really well.
And so do you have to have a better business understanding to run a volume-based business?
Well, I think because the margins are so tight, you have to be onto the numbers
Yeah.
much better. Make sure you've got your systems in place to be able to control it.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's lots of logistics up there
Yes,
with a
absolutely.
volume-based business.
Yeah.
The
Logistics.
devil's in the detail.
Absolutely. So hopefully you've got some insights there around pricing versus volume. If you're going for price, go high. Make sure you're delivering that value and that your clients perceive that value. And if you're going volume, make sure that you've got marketing, that you've got cash flow, that you've got your systems and processes ready for the journey. And I think that requires just a whole lot more planning, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I hope that you've got value from today. It is price versus volume. It has been Business Blitz with our amazing panel. Look forward to seeing you next time.